long ago, far in ancient time, a terror threatened the galaxy with an omnipotent might. Timeless, formless, ageless, older than time itself. The arch-terrorist of mankind. Some called it the adversary, the enemy. Others knew it by the name of the Forbidden. Few knew it by its true way. A path unto an omnipotent being, having gained immense power, terrorizes the galaxy, devouring all to raise itself. One who became a wielder of most ancient magic of reality. These beings who found this way and cannot turn back. The ones they know as God Star. Way of the Unknown.
Banners and flags filled the streets of Earth, celebrating the launch of the most sacred mission: to end the rogue terrorist threat, that which Earth's peoples knew only as the God Star, the unknown force known to seduce the minds of all beings. None were ever known to have came into contact with the God Star and resisted its seduction. None were safe from it, even all that hunted and sought to destroy it. Any that were touched by the God Star, once they got close, were pulled into its allure and succumbed, merging with the being itself, or ultimately devoured. None were able to harness the force of the God Star, not without being annihilated or becoming the very essence of the God Star themselves. Besides one, this one who is said to have harnessed this energy and had brought untold devastation to the galaxy. Countless millions of the Imperius had perished by its hand. Legends say it were once a human, and over time had become now a hideous mutation of the God Star energy, evading capture of the Imperius for millennia. Its moves could have never been plotted or predicted. It was the very essence of chaos itself, seeking to draw ever more power unto itself for its own end. Its plans unfathomably broad in scope, wrapped in the seal of its own secrecy. Above the crowds of the Imperious peoples, aloft in the high tower of his castle, overlooking the cheering peoples, was an old man with a golden crown, King Leonidas. He was the embodiment of tradition and order, rigidly upholding the age-old traditions of his forefathers with great success and untarnished honor. King Leonidas stood proud on his podium, the leader of Earth's civilization, heir of the bloodlines, the founders of the Imperius, the thriving empire that ruled Earth and had ultimately brought prosperity to mankind through its military efforts across the star system, led by the eldest son of the king, the military commander and high prince of men, Tigris. Leonidas looked down proudly at his son and spoke.
Hail thee, Tigris, my son, greatest of all the Imperius. Your name, a courageous banner to the many. Oh, how proud I am of your strength. Thank you, Father, of your loyalty. It exceeds my expectations of even myself. Truly have you risen into a great man, a true prince of man. my son.
Thank you, Father.
Hail thee, Tigress. The highest mission of the legions do I bestow upon thee. Seek out our greatest threat, the arch-terrorist of mankind. So evil to that we will not speak its name. You must go alone.
Okay.
Our trust is fully in thee. I know, Father. I truly believe no other has the unbreakable will. I see myself in you. I see what I could have been in you. Through you I see my dreams of the Imperius realized. Only thee has such courage and loyalty. Only thee can fulfill this task, Tigress. I know, Father. Only a heart as pure as thee. Go now, my son. The entire Imperius has you in every heart. You have the belief of us all.
Leonidas looked over at Tigress, who was standing upright and proud.
I love you, son.
I'll see it done, Father. I understand the faith you have in me.
And will always have in you, son. We are with you. We are all with you.
Swiftly will I vanquish this enemy, that which has greatly tormented you and our people for so long. I will bring the paradise you dreamed of this world, Father. I will return, Father.
Tigress's starship ascended into the sky, the roaring crowd screaming his name. The family watched silently as his ship went out of sight. A tear rolled down Leonidas's cheek. It was the last time he would ever see his son again. Chapter 1. Year 30,666. Beyond the reach of civilization, a forsaken planet lay buried in the ice. A relentless blizzard howled across its surface, erasing all traces of the world it once was. Snow swallowed the remnants of ancient technology, forgotten, useless. A derelict satellite station groaned beneath the storm, its rusted frame on the verge of collapse. Inside, a lone figure sat, wrapped in tattered cloth. A woman, or what remained of one. Her face, veiled in a ghostly beard, bore the scars of time. Wrinkled, hardened, eyes like fractured glass, damaged, unreadable. She did not know why. She had been here too long. Running. Hunted. Cursed by what she knew. Haunted by what she had seen. The cold no longer bit. Hunger no longer clawed. Her body had become something beyond human. Ageless. Immortal. She had seen the cosmos unfold. Touched the infinite. Awakened things that should have stayed buried. And now they had found her. A ship descended, sleek and white, carving through the storm. She remained still, hidden. 6 figures emerged, scanning the ruin with rifles in hand. After a tense moment, they turned away, boarding their craft. As it lifted off, she saw it, the emblem on its hull, a hand with an eye in its palm. A pain lanced through her skull. A locked memory clawed free. She had seen that symbol before. The facility, the experiments, the escape. Her blood was the most valuable in the galaxy, and they would never stop hunting her. She trudged toward her shelter, a skeletal bunker swallowed by the tundra. Her body bore the story of her survival. Scars, brands, old wounds carved deep. No clear gender defined her. A being shaped by suffering, unbound by flesh. By the small campfire, she stared into the flames. How much of herself remained? The tundra stretched, silent, yet she was not alone. She had seen it before. A glimpse in the storm. With bloodthirsting eyes like polished glass. Watching. She whispered into the void.
Hello?
The tundra whispered back.
You are it.
She shuddered.
The tree of knowledge led you here. Don't you know now?
A voice inside her, but not hers. Ancient, knowing, responded.
Who are you?
The knower of all things. The Ancient One. There is a way.
A name curled through the wind like smoke.
Cornelius. Satanas. Godstar. Why do you run?
Her breath hitched.
I know nothing else.
The voice hummed.
There is another way.
Her mind flickered, activating the supercomputer within her skull. Memories surged, fractured, reassembling. The facility, the farm, the prison planet, the ones she saved, the ones she abandoned, the ones she destroyed. She had severed herself from guilt, from shame, but the memories would not stop. The decorated soldier prince's gunship soared through the galaxy, approaching the atmosphere of the blizzarding, snowy planet. Tigris's disposition was firm and determined. His eyes saw the white glow of the planet before him. He'd finally found what the Imperius had sought after for so long. The cold hum of the ship's failing systems pulsed in the background as Tigris drifted through the black void, his course locked onto the frozen wasteland below. His fingers hovered over the console, the blinking red lights casting an eerie glow over his face, and the radio crackled to life.
Tigris, listen to me.
The voice of his father, Leonidas, came through thick with static, but Tigris could hear something beneath it. Urgency, maybe even fear.
I feel I've made a grave mistake, my son. Please, you must turn back. You don't know what you're walking into.
Tigris exhaled sharply.
I know exactly what I'm walking into, Father. I refuse to close my eyes to what's out there.
A heavy silence. And then Leonidas spoke, his voice controlled but firm.
This mission was never meant to lead here. I thought I was sending you to crush a rebellion, not into the heart of something far worse.
Tigris clenched his jaw.
You always told me there was nothing beyond the Imperius. No truth but what we dictate. But I found something. Father, I have found the God Star.
The static hissed. When Leonidas spoke again, there was something different in his voice. A weight.
You think you are the first to stand before it, to hear its whispers, to feel it calling you.
Tigris narrowed his eyes.
What are you saying? Nothing, son.
Tigris's fingers dug into the armrests.
You knew about the God Star long before this.
Leonidas's breath was audible, slow and measured.
I knew only enough to fear it.
He hesitated.
And I should never have sent you near it. That was my mistake, son. Abandon this mission, please. There is no dishonor, Tigris. We must stick to what we know. Uphold the traditions of our forefathers. We must protect the Imperius at all costs. There is much glory in your future, Tigris. Beyond this. Have faith, Father. You raised me to be like you. To seek power. To conquer. But you never told me what waited beyond the Imperius borders. It was you who kept this from me. I must fulfill this mission. I must know the truth.
Leonidas's voice dropped, grave and steady.
Because I believed you were strong enough to resist. I thought if I kept you in the light, that you would never stray. But I am fearful, Tigris. For your sake. For the Imperius. Please, Tigris.
Leonidas's voice dropped. Tigris felt his heart pound.
You speak like someone who knows this path well.
Leonidas did not answer. The silence between them stretched, more revealing than words. Tigris exhaled, forcing himself to focus on the ship's descent. The planet loomed below, a jagged ice world waiting to consume him.
I've made my choice, Father. I don't need your approval. I will make you proud. Then at least listen to me when I say, this thing, it does not share power. It devours, Tigris. I fear the worst.
Tigris shut his eyes, feeling the ship tremble as he entered the atmosphere.
If that were true, then why does it feel so right? Why do I feel more alive than ever? The closer I draw, I feel its pull, its power. And I will see this kingdom greater than ever. I will return, Father, and I will bring the power of the God Star with me. You will see. I will raise our family name mighty and proud. Our name will last eons to come. By your hand, Father. Trust me.
Leonidas spoke, but there was no command in his voice now. Only something dangerously close to sorrow.
Because it does not take you all at once. It lets you believe it's your choice. Until you no longer know the difference. I can do this, Father. I'm not like the rest. I can feel its power. I must be close.
The signal crackled. The ship shuddered, and Tigris gritted his teeth.
Father, my ship is failing. I've lost control. I don't know what's going on.
But the static swallowed Leonidas's voice as the planet's surface loomed closer and closer, and Tigris knew there was no turning back. Tigris lost all control of the ship as its thrusters failed and the ship's steering mysteriously malfunctioned.
The technology is shutting down. There's nothing I can do. I'm descending to the planet's surface.
Bank angle.
I will survive, Father. I love you, son. Turn back. Please. Please, my son. Turn back. I love you, Father. And I will not fail you. There is nothing to prove. to me, Tigress. Please, return to me immediately. Please, son, listen to me.
The ship plummeted toward the unknown planet's surface.
What have I done? My son, what have I done?
Night fell. The storm waged its holy war against the land. She lay on cold metal sheets, dried shrub her only pillow. Sleep did not come. Her mind drifted through infinite realities, visions, simulations, data streams bleeding into thought. And then, a crash. Her eyes snapped open. A ship lay wrecked in the snow. Smoke curling into the frozen air, her heart pounding, she approached. Whoever was inside was likely dead, and yet she longed for connection, even if it meant death. She pried open the cockpit, dragging out an unconscious man. His armor gleamed, his jaw strong, his body limp in the cold. On his chest plate, the emblem, the hand, the eye. She exhaled sharply. She knew what it meant. She knew why he was here. With a weary sigh, she hoisted him onto her shoulder, shielding him from the storm. She laid him beside her in the wreckage of her world. And as sleep took her, voices echoed from the beyond.
This is cursed. This is cursed.
Chapter 2. Rays of morning light filtered through the outer corrugated metal mesh of the satellite, gently prying open the silence of the wreckage. They caressed her eyes, pulling her from the vastness of far-off realms where her consciousness had drifted. Slowly, her awareness of her body re-emerged. Gradually at first, like a fog lifting from a distant horizon, she felt the pressure, the density of this form, the weight of her human shell once again. Her mind recoiled as it was compressed, snapping back from its infinite, expansive awareness into the confines of her flesh. The transition was disorientating, as though waking from an endless, living nightmare. The stark heaviness of emotion returned, as did the limitations of her body, the 5 senses that now defined her existence. For a moment, it felt like a cruel and repetitive cycle. Her consciousness once again trapped within this dense form. The vast, infinite realities of her dreamscape began to fade, replaced by the rigid confines of the cold satellite. Her eyes remained closed as she performed the same ritual of morning acceptance. A deep breath through her nose, a slow exhale, and then she opened her eyes. To her shock, the man was gone. She scrambled to her feet, her eyes darting across the room. Was it real? Had she imagined it? Her mind raced, flooded with a storm of fear and curiosity, trying to reconcile the fading memory with the present. She moved down the desolate corridors of her shelter, scanning every inch, her steps quickening with the anxiety of questioning her own sanity. And then she saw him, his silhouette framed in the doorway, leaned against the crumbling doorframe, his gaze lost in the endless expanse of the tundra. She froze, watching. His posture was rigid, authoritative. The gleaming gold and silver of his armor reflected the weak sunlight. The wind tore at his cape, giving him an aura of commanding presence. Intimidating, mesmerizing.
Who are you?
She shouted down the corridor, her voice echoing through the empty facility. Yet he did not answer. She had no weapon. She was frail and no match for him if he decided to strike. Keeping her distance, she watched him warily, unsure of his intentions, feeling a heavy tension grow between them. He remained still, staring out into the storm, unwavering.
I was sent here to kill you.
He finally spoke, his voice low and firm. She exhaled sharply, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Her gaze never left him, her mind processing the strange turn of events. With careful deliberation, he drew his massive sword, the length of it almost obscene, glinting with the shimmer of ancient metals, inscribed with prayers, holy symbols, the weapon of a man on a mission. Each movement was precise, controlled. It was as if he knew exactly how to wield both his words and his actions. She stood frozen, caught between awe and fear, watching as he raised the sword, slowly with deliberate precision. He turned his gaze to her, his eyes blue like the deepest oceans locked in hers. The air between them crackled with an unspoken power. The weight of his gaze overwhelmed her, an intensity that shattered her carefully constructed composure. For the first time in millennia, she buckled. Emotions forgotten and buried flooded her. Shame, unworthiness, a sorrow so deep it threatened to drown her. But beneath it all, something else rose, an attraction, fierce and undeniable. Unable to control the surge of feeling, she dropped to her knees. Her eyes still locked with his. The stare was unyielding. His body, a statue of strength, remained motionless. But then a shift, a crack, almost imperceptible. A fleeting moment of doubt in his gaze, and she saw it. The humanity that lurked beneath his surface. And in that brief instant, he faltered. His resolve wavered, but it was gone as quickly as it came, and his stern demeanor returned.
Why didn't you kill me? Why didn't you? Why didn't you kill me?
His voice was firm, the authority still evident, but there was something softer there now. A long silence followed, stretching painfully between them.
Why would I?
She responded, calm yet defiant, her mind pushing back against the psychic pressure he exuded. He pointed the sword at her, his grip tightening, an accusatory edge in his words.
I know what you are.
A quiet smile tugged at her lips. She felt the psychic shift between them. The tide was turning, and she held the upper hand.
Do you?
Once more, his composure cracked. His face twisted in confusion, unease creeping into his expression. For a split moment, a flicker of cosmic fear passed through him. It was a feeling that tore through him, alien and terrifying. He'd never experienced it, never succumbed to the physical pull of another being. Yet for one impossible moment, it gripped him, and it terrified him. And in that instant, his fear exploded into rage. He bellowed a battle cry, swinging the great sword with a force that could have cleaved a mountain. The sword struck the floor inches from her feet, embedding deep in the metal. He released it, letting the tip remain buried as the handle swayed gently in the aftermath. He had intentionally missed her. And then something even more surprising happened. The mighty warrior fell to his knees, his hands clutching his head as if the weight of the universe had crashed down upon him. The fierce, unshakable figure crumbled, his stoic resolve evaporating into confusion and self-doubt.
What is happening to me?
His voice was ragged, barely a whisper. His chest heaved with the weight of an identity crumbling. She watched him, uncertain but drawn to his raw vulnerability. Without a second thought, she approached, wrapping her arms around him in an unexpected embrace. Her face gently pressed into the side of his head, a motherly comfort. She whispered softly, rocking him as if he were a child. And then he broke. His sobs erupted, deep, painful wails that tore through the silence. The once noble figure, so sure of himself, was now reduced to a fragile, broken soul. His pain was palpable, reverberating in the air between them.
Why?
His body trembling with the force of his anguish.
Why is this happening to me? I can't explain any of this.
She held him steady and unwavering, continuing to rock him gently. Her voice was soft, a balm for his raw emotions.
Shh. It will take time.
His confusion was evident. His mind, once so structured, was now a maze of questions, doubts, fears.
How? Why can't I stop this feeling?
He whimpered.
Shh. Time. Give it time.
She assured him, her words like a whispered lullaby.
I will help you.
Her tone warm, almost maternal. The air around them shifted, filled with tenderness and quiet understanding. Despite the storm outside, in that moment a bond was forged between them. One that neither of them fully understood yet, but it was there, undeniable.
This was inevitable.
She murmured almost to herself, her voice barely audible. She continued to rock him, her hands steady as the world outside raged. Through the cracks in the metal walls, her gaze drifted out into the blizzarding tundra, her mind deep in thought, her resolve firm.
Now what? Now what?
Chapter 3. His sobs gradually tapered off, his breath returning to some semblance of control. Yet a numbing stillness settled within him.
Am I?
His voice was a breathy whisper, the question almost lost in the void of his confusion.
Yes. Yes.
She replied softly, her gaze steady on his head. Her wisdom, ancient and unspoken, offered him a comfort that was more than just physical. It was a balm to his fractured soul. He felt like a child now. The gravity of his past self, his high rank, his power, seeming inconsequential mere hours ago. Slowly he began to relax. Inch by inch, her touch on his shoulders, gentle and soothing, gradually lowered the barrier he had so tightly maintained. The tension that once defined him slowly released, like pressure escaping from a punctured vessel.
This is not what I am. I know it isn't.
His voice cracked, torn between shame and confusion.
No one is saying it is.
She responded calmly, giving him space to explore his fractured identity, offering no judgment, only understanding. His voice quivered with the weight of his internal struggle.
Oh, this shame. This dread. It's too much. I cannot bear it.
Without warning, his pain exploded again, his hands flinging into the air, desperate, frantic.
No! Oh, God! Please! No!
His scream tore through the silence, raw and gut-wrenching. She made no attempt to silence him. Instead, she rubbed his chest plate, a soft hush escaping her lips.
Oh! How I have fallen! They said their best, their very best, the strongest, most faithful, of the highest caliber. They gave me everything.
raised me from nothing. How have I failed? How could I ever return to the ranks of my brothers with this dishonor?
He buried his face in his hands, the despair crippling him. She watched him without speaking. She felt his anguish, the deep echo of her own long-forgotten pain surfacing. She had been there once, long ago. She recognized the familiar, almost ancient trauma of self-doubt and regret that now consumed him. It was a memory that seemed too distant, yet intimately familiar.
Of all I swore to destroy, I realize now I am that. Can there be no redemption for me?
His eyes met hers, haunted, desperate. She held his gaze with an understanding far older than either of them.
There is something greater than redemption in the path of the God Star.
God Star?
He gasped, the words tentative, his belief laced with the smallest spark of hope amidst the bleakness.
The path of the one who knows beyond salvation.
She continued, her voice like a quiet storm.
None such exists.
He refuted, his disbelief now full-blown.
Not to a mortal.
She answered, her voice calm as the deep abyss. He fell into silence, a breath held in his chest, as though he had been plunged into freezing dark. The air between them thickened. Her gaze pierced through him deeper than any weapon. Slowly, the warrior began to crumble, but not in a way that he expected. The smoldering intensity in his eyes shifted. Now he was a man, confused, vulnerable, lost in something far greater than himself. And in that moment his mind was on fire, with an overwhelming surge of desire. His gaze locked with hers, his sapphire eyes so unwavering and sharp, softened. A powerful urge swept through him, breaking the fortress of his stoicism. He felt something impossible, an attraction, a pull that was beyond logic. It transcended every regulation, every doctrine he had ever known. And they leaned in, closer and closer, their eyes locked in a cosmic dance, until their lips met in an eruption of raw, uncontrollable passion. The world dissolved into a blur of frantic hands, frantic breathing, their bodies pressed together in a fevered dance, clothes discarded in an intimate frenzy. Time seemed to lose all meaning. Hours passed into what felt like an eternal moment, neither of them with the strength to move. Every ounce of physical energy had been spent, but their minds still burned with intensity. Exhausted, they collapsed in a heap on the cold metal floor. Spent, unconscious, and the darkness of sleep claimed them. Later in stillness, naked, only an old brown blanket covered their bodies, a tattered shield from the cold, their bodies entwined as they lay together on the hard floor. His eyes remained distant, his mind racing with thoughts he barely understood. Her head rested on his chest, her form splayed beside him, legs tangled with his in an intimate stillness. The once overwhelming weight of the universe seemed to have been lifted, at least for a fleeting moment. It was as if the chaos of everything that had come before had been momentarily swallowed by the void of their shared exhaustion. Time stretched, endless, until she finally stirred. Her eyes opened, the faintest light creeping through the cracks in the shelter, casting shadows on the cold, metallic walls. She shifted her gaze toward him. His face was peaceful, untroubled in an unconscious repose, an unfamiliar serenity that contrasted sharply with the storm that raged through him earlier. What had just transpired between them was beyond reason. It was a collision of souls, a merging of bodies, of minds, of essences, something too profound for comprehension. As his sapphire eyes met hers again, he was no longer the soldier, the agent of the Imperius. He was simply a man, lost, vulnerable, searching.
What have we done?
His voice was hoarse, quiet,
Calm.
the gravity of the question hanging in the air. She stayed silent for a moment, absorbing the rawness of the moment.
I don't know how long we have together.
His voice trailed off, uncertainty dripping from his words.
They will suspect heresy of their champion.
She smiled, a small knowing curve in her lips.
They will come looking for me, you know. When they see I haven't returned, they'll send reconnaissance teams. They'll know I wouldn't have survived speaking to you. They'll know I should have died.
His tone was filled with a quiet regret, a dawning awareness that his presence had endangered them both.
I know.
She said, as calm as ever.
We leave tomorrow night.
His eyes widened as the harsh reality of their situation hit him.
Impossible! My ship's thrusters are fried! All my comms are down. Every trace of our communications will lead them right to us. They'll shoot us down before we even get close to leaving this atmosphere.
She raised an eyebrow, a smirking tugging at the corner of her mouth.
You speak as though you understand my power.
He fell silent, his gaze flickering with awe. She was unfazed, unflinching, calm, radiating from her. It was something he could barely comprehend.
You have so much to learn.
He sighed, his head bowing slightly in acceptance.
You are near mythologized, you know.
He hesitated, looking at her as if she was something more than real.
Are you really what they say?
They have no idea.
She replied, her voice quiet but filled with power.
Only fantasy. The truth is far beyond any conception they could ever have. What I've seen, what I've done, how I've become what I am.
He paused, lost in thought.
I've seen your file. The things you've done. The atrocities. They're beyond anything my mind could grasp. Some have come to revere your name as the most hated being in the galaxy. Certainly the most dangerous. They say you command forces unknown to mortal kind. They say you have no age, no number. They say you feast on blood, devour souls, entire worlds, and yet...
He trailed off, his voice breaking with confusion.
What I see is something so beautiful, loving, endearing. You're so lovable.
Did they all say that?
She grinned playfully, her voice laced with mischief.
They say you're no longer human. A twisted monster, ferocious, untrustworthy, untamable.
His voice faltered, unable to make sense of it all.
It doesn't make any sense.
And what do you see?
She asked, her smile turning soft but intense.
I don't know. But I can't stop.
He swallowed hard, a raw vulnerability creeping into his voice.
Can't stop what?
She whispered, smiling candidly.
Loving you. Wanting you.
She looked into his eyes, deep and knowing. The connection between them deepened in that instant.
That makes two of us.
Her voice filled with a softness he couldn't explain. He sighed, a strange, almost defeated expression settling on his face.
You are an existential contradiction. You shouldn't be what you are, but you are. It hurts my mind. But my intrigue overrides all rationality.
Now you're getting it.
She smirked.
Come on, get up. I have much to show you, and so little time.
Chapter 4.
I cannot wrestle with this. I cannot wrestle anymore with this.
His voice trembling as a new, unfamiliar weight pressed against his heart.
Tell me.
There's a feeling in my chest that I should report all this. I should report all this back to the Imperius. Try to make some kind of case. I have their trust. My family, they're in a high position. I could try to free you. We could be something.
She remained silent, her gaze distant, unfazed by the words that spilled from his mouth. Instead, her fingers moved with purpose, caressing the fabric of his body, gliding upward with deliberate precision. Her hand traced from his groin, over the ridges of his stomach, up his chest. She stopped when her fingers wrapped around a pendant, its shape unmistakable, an emblem she knew all too well. The hand with the eye and the palm. He paused, his breath catching in his chest. A proud, almost smug smile curled across his face.
The High Council of the Imperius. They honored me with the highest titles of men. This medal marks my inauguration. The proudest achievement of my family's history,
he declared, his tone exuding a quiet confidence. She, however, remained unmoved, her eyes unblinking as she stared at the pendant. His words hung in the air, unanswered. As she tightened her grip on the pendant, slowly she squeezed harder and harder until a crack echoed through the stillness, and the emblem shattered, revealing delicate wiring, a microchip, and a hidden camera and microphone.
Report this to the Imperius.
they know.
You think they don't already know?
His eyes widened in horror,
They know.
disbelief radiating from him. The realization slammed into him like a physical blow.
They really do believe that you are the sworn enemy of the Imperius. The arch-terrorist of the galaxy. Menace. Nemesis of mankind. But here I am. Your lover.
His voice grew frenzied and raw.
What does that make me?
Fury built in his chest, burning hot and fast.
You did this to me.
He slammed his fist against the floor.
I should have killed you.
Her voice was a cool, mocking tone as she responded.
You are free to kill me. Whenever you wish. At least I have my assailant's name before I meet the sword.
She teased lightly, as if the tension in the air were nothing more than a game. His frustration surged. His breath came in ragged gasps as he sank to his knees, staring into a puddle of icy water that reflected his anguished expression.
I can't go back. Never. My face. They'll never be seen again in this planetary system.
Her voice was soft but resolute.
Now you're understanding me. Who says they will see you?
He recoiled, still filled with anger and confusion.
Of course they'll see me. I'm the highest ranking officer in the Imperious Starfleet. I am their commander, leader of legions of loyal men, the armies of mankind. My honor is known even as far as the Sirius system. My face is known even to the lowest pauper in the slums, as once their greatest hero.
His voice trailed off, fading into a bitter realization. She raised his chin with a gentle, almost tender touch.
You must see beyond.
A conflicted look crossed his features.
I can't help but feel I've betrayed them.
You betray only yourself with this talk. Now come on. We're leaving.
What? Where? What? The ship is beyond repair.
She smiled.
Ready and functional.
His jaw dropped.
Wait. What? How?
Thought.
She answered simply, her eyes closing momentarily as she focused her power. He gawped, staring above him, dumbfounded, his mouth hanging open. Through the harsh storm, the sleek white ship descended gently, landing directly before them, its mechanical arms extended, the cabin door opening with a hiss. She leapt forward playfully, stepping onto the ramp.
What? You could have done this the whole time? I don't understand.
He exclaimed, incredulous.
Yes, but without a mate, it's no fun, is it?
She said with a cheeky grin. Glancing back at him, she held out her hand towards him, gesturing for him to follow. He shook his head, still in disbelief, but a grin began to curl at the edges of his lips. Slowly he walked up the ramp, his eyes never leaving her, as her audacity began to grow on him.
The name's Tigress.
I know.
She said with a smile.
And you? Your real name?
He asked, genuinely curious. She met his gaze, her smile deepening.
I've lived many lives. Many times. I've been many names. I renounce them all. I answer to no name mankind can pronounce. My kin name me by their own tongue, that which cannot be conceived by a mortal mind. You are not ready to receive it. Not yet.
He looked at her, dumbfounded, speechless.
Hurry now. Bored, for we've much to do.
Where are we going?
He asked, with a flicker of nervousness in his voice.
You have begun, or cannot be undone. I take you now to receive the rites of initiation.
And what if I refuse?
Well, then you can go back. You can try.
He turned his gaze toward the blizzard, questioning everything he thought he knew. With a deep sigh, he turned back, walking into the cabin. The door slowly closed behind him, and seconds later, the ship was already soaring through the atmosphere, hurtling toward an infinite unknown. In the high towers of the Imperius on Earth, waving banners and flags of his son's face and name, King Leonidas stood, looking over his cheering peoples. And a company of soldiers revealed to King Leonidas the recording.
Loving you.
And inside the tallest tower,
Loving you.
they spoke.
This was the final recording, my lord. We lost all communications after that. There's been no sighting. We fear he has been lost to the enemy.
I've had enough. Leave me.
I'm so sorry, my lord.
Destroy it.
But, my lord...
I said destroy it.
Okay, my lord.
The king walked away onto the balcony, overlooking the crowds. The glories sung of his son, the hope he gave them. He saw how he empowered the peoples by his name. The king stared out onto a beaming scarlet sunset, looking across the vast horizons of the Grand Empire.
Our son, he will return. His fate has not been changed. There is a way, Leonidas.
I can just barely see it. It wears so thin. How many moons will pass before I see him again? I don't know. These towers, they're so lonely without him. They mean nothing to me now. For what is the glories of the Imperius without my son? I love you.
You must be strong for him. Trust him.
I love him so much.
We all do.
Come back to me, son. I will find you.
We will find him, Leonidas. I know it.
I know. His fate rests with the gods. There's nothing for me to do now. To trust the way. To trust the unknown path for each and every soul.
Chapter 5. Aboard the ship, the pair exchanged words and fleeting glances as they sat in the cockpit of the ship.
What are you? What is your name?
My name. Not much is revealed by my tongue, for I trust little and trust none. I escaped from the planet, left my family long ago from the simple hillside. I have lived a life beyond any conception of man. Once, I lived as a man of earth, through unimaginable eons passing. I left the mortal coil in mind and bearing. I found immense powers. I became a high wizard. From nothing I came, lived I many ancient tales and stories. Once from the peasantry I came, raised myself alone, estranged from my family, my parents. Left I the stratosphere of the known, in search of the unknown. Desired long the greatest truths and secrets. Thus I committed the greatest atrocity, the crime to know, the crime to partake in the all. Many avatars of men and women have I beheld, finding great powers from nothing. Became I king amongst men.
Amongst men you would be considered a god king. The secrets of mankind.
Long did I unleash the forces of God upon the earth. By my magic and power, heresy that I faced in my final judgment, ran I into the distance, moving from age to age as a menace of revelation, ascension, terror and torment to the world. Long did I wage holy war upon mankind, raising them, ascending them through their struggle, revealing to them their innermost desires, their flaws, their uncomfortable truths. They think of me as a hellraiser, but truly I am a god to them. Thousands of years ago, underground and secret, was I once a great king, an emperor in one life. In time my mortal sustenance granted me, incarnation after incarnation, living ancient stories in one body, hardened, my body now impervious, my spirit immortal. Truly I have sustained in knowing for over 30,000 years. Many lives sustained me, fed me, as I devoured the souls of the many. Thus was I enslaved to a great beast, the formidable Zalku. Though my long torment and suffering beyond human capacity, did my humanity burn away, leaving the most potent essence, did I become the very thirsting beast myself, yet greater. Thus did I devour even my master after long ages. My thirst increasing, did I move to devour nations, planets, worlds, growing in power, accumulating minds and hearts of the many inside me. For long awakened has my mind to a great power in the cosmos. Once my name was Cornelius. Long did I reign in the eternal fires of the hellscape, bringing woe to man by my power. Forced was I to leave even the planet, even the galaxy by my heresies. They chased me into the farthest reaches of existence, seeking their judgment. Yet I evaded, still seeking, anonymous, raising in might and power, becoming ever more invisible, secret and undetected, an interdimensional nomad, shifting through dimensions, timelines. I move through alternate layers of existence. No space do I call home, for the entirety of existence holds my belonging. Yet infinite has my scope become in my years, my time, my wisdom. It is true I was indeed a man, a father, but slowly over time some considered me a woman. I consider myself neither. I've become something new, something greater, beyond that which your mortal coil can understand. Thus I've become the very thing you fear most, yet you claim to fight in the name of, yet you claim to believe in and defend. I am that which mankind truly reveres, fears, and does not know, for I have become the unknown.
Tigris paused, trying to digest the words that unraveled before him. His thoughts struggled to find any coherence.
Do you trust me now, soldier, to walk with me along this path?
She smiled with a knowing look, her eyes glowing like stars in the distance.
I need to know what's going on. Please. Just tell me everything.
Tigress, you think you must know everything now?
But the truth sets us free, does it not?
Yes. But too much, too soon. It'll be too painful, Tigress.
Something about her tone was jarring. Tigress could feel the weight of her words, her care for his mind, her secrecy meant for his good. He wasn't sure if he understood, but in that moment, he felt the deep sincerity behind her cryptic answers.
You've nothing to prove to me, soldier. Get some rest.
He looked at her exhausted, a slight unease and suspicion creeping in. He had no idea what to think, but something in her gaze, insisting yet tender, spoke of care.
Yeah.
He sighed with exhaustion and slowly walked down the small ship corridor into a living quarters. The metallic door hissed, closed behind him. The room was sparse but had a large window, showing the infinite darkness of space, speckled with twinkling stars. He exhaled deeply, realizing this was his life now. A numbness swept over him as he saw his future stretched in endless uncertainty. No destination, no clarity. He felt like a stranger to himself, pulling off his once shiny armor. It now lay dull and lifeless on the floor, no longer gleaming. He stared at the inscription on the chest plate. Truth, justice, in the name of the Savior. His once unshakable certainty was now fractured, blurred. He questioned everything. He stared at the reflection in the bathroom mirror, his eyes no longer sparkling with the pride of a hero. For the first time, he didn't recognize himself. His soul felt detached, like a fever dream, a nightmare he hoped to awake from, to return to the life he had known. His hand wandered to a cupboard, searching for something to cleanse himself, anything. He felt the handle of something, pulling it out, a tiny silver dagger, smaller than a toothbrush, with alien markings that had no sense to him. He stared at the dagger for a minute, lost in silent contemplation. Slowly he raised the blade to his throat, grazing it against his neck. In the surreal trance, he nicked himself. The sharp pain snapped him back to reality. He dropped the dagger into the sink, blood drops following him. Holding a cloth to his neck, he felt the sting of life returning to him, the confusion intensifying. He stumbled back to the bed, collapsing in shock and hyperventilating. Soon the deep sleep took him away. Tigress fell into a fantastical dream, a triumphant cinematic journey through his past, glory days with his comrades, planting the imperious flag in distant star systems, proclaiming the glory of mankind in the name of the Savior. His brothers in arms, trusting him with hope in their eyes, their faith in his courage unwavering. But as Tigress slept, the images faded into uncertainty. His mind struggled to process the conflicting emotions. The truth he now sought, the peace he longed for, and the reality that seemed to be slipping further from his grasp. After a long, rejuvenating sleep, Tigress awoke with the weight of reality sinking into his chest. He glanced at his discarded armor on the floor, but now he felt no need to wear it. Instead, he found a simple grey robe and wrapped himself in it. He marched back into the cockpit, where the enigmatic figure awaited him.
Have you not even slept?
Tigress exclaimed. noticing she hadn't moved since he left.
I do not need sleep as you do. It's different for me.
He sat down beside her, feeling the weight of the silence between them.
Tell me of this God Star. If there really is a way out of this, I need to know.
She exhaled deeply, staring off into the vast starry abyss, almost trance-like.
Answer me.
I am the God Star, merged with the infinite. I exist across infinite galaxies.
Tigress sat frozen in bewilderment, unable to process her words.
I don't understand.
She continued in quiet conviction.
Once upon a time, I was but a crumb in the bread of life. But now, I am the hot melted butter, spread across every slice, soaked into every pore. It is a way.
A way to where?
His confusion growing.
The highest all. Devotion, love, pain, knowing, power, unfiltered gifts of the unknown. The very nature of the path evades description. You are either born to walk it, or you are not. You can never know exactly what it brings. Truth, lies, transcendence beyond mortal understanding. It is a choice of letting go.
Tigress stared on, dumbfounded, unable to respond. To speak seemed futile.
You love me, don't you?
Yes. Of course I do.
I don't know what it is about you. You heal me in some way. You give me something. I don't know what it is. I love you.
I know.
The pair lean in, kiss each other's lips. The pain of existence relieved itself momentarily. Chapter 6. The ship entered the atmosphere. The planet's surface slowly revealed beneath the thick green fog.
What is this place?
Tigress gasped.
Ardaga.
She faintly exclaimed. Their starship began descending through the pouring rain into a vast city network of towering skyscrapers, stretching miles high from the ground. Thousands of tiny window lights flickered from their sides, while neon lights scattered in various shapes and screens adorned the massive structures. These enormous buildings, once bustling with life, now house an overpopulated world. A thick, greenish smog from the factories smothered the landscape, mixing with the relentless fog. The city stretched endlessly, a labyrinth of steel and sorrow, bathed in the sickly glow of a polluted sky. Towering spires rose like jagged tombstones, marking the grave of the humanity's spirit. Acidic rain fell in a constant drizzle, corroding metal and flesh alike. A silent reminder that even nature conspired against life here. On the ground, the enslaved masses shuffled like automatons, their hollow eyes staring at nothing, their bodies frail from years of endless labor. There was no escape, no reprieve. Their souls were spent in factories where the air reeked of molten metal and human despair. Each day was an endless procession of suffering, broken only by the harsh commands of their overseers, or the occasional scream of someone collapsing from exhaustion. Hope was a distant memory, a relic of a time long forgotten. The population had been born into this nightmare, shaped by the lies of the rulers who promised salvation in return for submission. But salvation never came. The only release was death, and even that was denied to many, as their bodies were recycled into the endless machinery of this hellish world. Above them, sleek patrol ships hovered, their engines humming like harbingers of doom, casting eerie shadows over the streets. The rulers' unyielding surveillance never ceased. Escape was a fantasy. Rebellion was impossible. Every whispered dream of freedom was snuffed out before it could form, either by informants or the ever-present drones monitoring every movement. Families had become a cruel joke, their existence twisted by the regime. Parents labored under the crushing knowledge that their children would inherit this misery. Children grew up knowing nothing but suffering. No warmth, no kindness. The few who dared to dream of a better future were swiftly broken, their spirits crushed by the brutal machinery of the state. Even the air seemed to rebel against life, thick with toxins that burned throats and filled lungs with sickness. The masks they wore offered little protection, barely filtering the venomous smog. Breathing became a laborious task, a cruel irony in a world where survival was a punishment. This was life on a slave planet, the slave planet, where she had escaped. Its slow, agonizing march toward oblivion. There was no light, no future on the endless present of pain and despair. The city itself seemed alive, not with a pulse of progress, but with the cries of the broken. And in the silence between the screams, something far worse lurked. The suffocating weight of hopelessness, a void so consuming that it left no room for anything else.
Beautiful, isn't it?
She murmured ironically.
What? Why? Why have you brought me here?
Tigress asked, feeling overwhelmed by the stark contrast between this place and the flourishing homeworlds of the Imperius, the ones he had protected all his life. He had never seen such despair, and its very existence weighed heavily on his being.
I'm taking you to meet someone who gave me my first glimpse of the unknown.
Why? Why me?
Do you have anything left to lose? Are you not alone? Who could you call on? Who would not sell you back to the Imperius for your heresy? What do you have to go back to?
I don't know. I could start a new life somewhere, in secret, where I'd never be found.
As a fugitive, hiding for the rest of your days.
She scoffed.
Maybe you could beg for forgiveness from the Imperius. Beg for mercy. But even then, what would you have left? Could they ever trust you again? Could you truly trust yourself?
Tigress's head fell into his hands, his palms covering his face as he sighed deeply.
Would your people ever truly accept you back? Could you ever be seen as anything other than a betrayer of mankind?
The ship began its landing process, docking atop one of the massive skyscrapers.
Wait! There are people everywhere! They'll recognize me immediately. I'll be arrested for treason.
They'll be looking for you,
she said in her voice, calm.
And you, of course.
Well, yes.
This is suicide! Turn the ship around now!
She laughed softly to herself.
Catch!
She threw a small circular disc towards him, the size of a handheld compass. Tigress caught it, bewildered.
It's a cloaking device. Carry it with you. Push this button on the side, and it will alter your form beyond recognition. Your identity will be concealed. We'll be able to move around much easier.
Tigress fumbled with the disc, astonished.
This technology is unknown to me. Beyond even the highest science of the Imperius.
The unknown has many gifts.
This is extremely illegal.
Tigress sighed.
I guess we'll have to chance it.
She smirked. Tigress looked back uneasily as she clicked the button on the disc in her hand. Instantly, a holographic light encased her body, altering her appearance completely. Her face and body type were unrecognizable. The efficiency of the technology was flawless. Tigris, now fully impressed, clicked his own disc and took on a new form.
This is incredible. So convincing. This technology, it doesn't feel human.
She smirked back at him.
It doesn't, does it?
Can I change this form while in the tech?
Oh, you won't need to. It will seamlessly adjust to your surroundings, altering your appearance to avoid detection. It will adapt to the people and places you encounter, making you nearly invisible.
Wow.
She grinned, her voice carrying an air of mystique and foreboding.
Welcome to the trip.
Chapter 7. Their footsteps splashed through the puddles as they moved through the narrow nooks and crannies of the vertical slum city. Uncounted millions lived here, drowning in immense poverty and disease. The conditions were akin to an unsanitary farmhouse for battery hens. Packed into small holes within the towers, these weren't homes, but cells. A constant hum of industrial machinery filled the air, with airships constantly lifting off and returning, moving large amounts of concealed cargo. Tigris watched carefully, but couldn't make out what they were transporting in the containment units. It gnawed at his mind. The living conditions were filthy. The people wore tattered rags, and there were few smiles to be seen, aside from the occasional child innocently playing with trash in the open. General population seemed almost zombie-like, their faces devoid of personality, as if they were grazing farm animals. None of them even bothered to look at the pair as they walked through the ghettos. Their appearances were cloaked, camouflaged to blend in with the locals, tattered and diseased in appearance, their genetic structure altered to match the subpar local gene pool. Tigris remained silent, his thoughts a storm of confusion. Everywhere he looked, he saw the emblem of the Imperius, the very symbol he had once stood for with pride. He had seen it on flags. He planted it on planets, enemies marked as terrorists. But now it was on every billboard, every sign. He could hardly understand what was happening. Who was betraying who? Was there even a good side anymore? The pain in his heart was smothered by confusion. He tried to block out what his eyes saw, but the image of the branded people stuck with him. On every person's skin was the symbol of the Imperius, branded and scarred into their flesh, a symbol of ownership. Tigris's mind flashed back to his own branding. He had one too, but he had no memory of receiving it, nor understanding of what it truly meant.
Is this what you're fighting for?
She said calmly, her voice breaking through his troubled thoughts. Tigris stayed silent, unsure how to respond.
Was it me who did this?
She whispered to him.
What do you stand for, Tigris? What war are you in?
As they walked deeper into the heart of the slums, the truth became undeniable. These weren't houses. These were prison cells, numbered and organized into a grid, constantly surveilled by technology. Flying drones and militant guards patrolled day and night, maintaining the illusion of safety for the enslaved masses. Every drone, every guard bore the Imperius symbol. Tigris could no longer deny it. This was not some horrific nightmare. This was real, an open prison masquerading as an industrial orphanage for billions of people. Was this the cause he had sworn to protect? The secret of the Imperius? One even he hadn't known. He glanced upward at the massive billboard, stretched over 100 feet along the side of a skyscraper. Images flashed across the screen, and through the rain and fog, he saw something that stopped his heart. An image of his face, The words traitor and manhunt scrolled beneath it on a screen. His life flashed before his eyes. His legs weakened and his heart seemed to stop beating. An unfathomable emotion overwhelmed him, as though a knife had been plunged into his chest. He nearly collapsed, but was caught by his companion, who kept him steady.
I know,
she whispered, kissing his head as he numbly stared at the ground, struggling to put one foot in front of the other. She carried him.
Just a little further,
she whispered. They walked a little bit longer, and then, looking over her shoulder to make sure they were not being watched, she guided him into an especially narrow, dim alley. She pointed to a door ahead of them. It looked no different from any other door they'd seen in the slums, but the number on it stood out. 666.
There it is. Be quiet. Be silent. And when you go inside, what you see, you are sworn to secrecy. Listen carefully to what is said to you.
What is that?
For it will not be repeated.
What?
Follow my lead. Speak when spoken to, but do not lie. They will know.
Tigris gulped and nodded, confirming he understood. The pair stood outside the door, but Tigris couldn't shake the unsettling presence coming from it. It felt otherworldly, like an aura of foreboding dread, wonder, and a sense of transcendental fear that seemed to seep into his very soul. The door appeared completely ordinary, save for a small inscription on the handle, written in an alien-looking language.
What does it say?
Tigris asked, fear and unease creeping into his voice. She read the inscription quietly.
What does it say?
He who shall enter shall never be the same, nor shall he ever know the righteous or the damned, the black or the white, for he has entered the domain of the gods.
She looked into his eyes, her playful demeanor gone, replaced by a serious, unwavering gaze.
I cannot open this door for you. I have already done what had to be done. You must open it yourself.
Tigris's throat tightened, and sweat beaded on his brow. Trembling, he placed his hand on the door handle. Instantly, a surge of electrical energy flooded his consciousness, and it was as if he had been dunked in freezing water. His stomach churned with paranormal nerves, and a deep anxiety rooted in something beyond mortal understanding took hold. He quickly pulled his hand away from the handle, the feeling fading instantly. He looked at her, but she had not moved a muscle. Her gaze remained focused, still unflinching.
It's your choice,
she whispered.
I trust you.
He replied, his voice hushed.
Don't.
He took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of resolve within him, and clutched the door handle once again. Before he could change his mind, he turned the handle and burst the door open. Chapter 8. The door opened into a filthy corridor. It was completely derelict. The corridor was empty except for a bland concrete and stripped paint on the walls. The door slammed behind them, its echo reverberating down the long hallway. Tigris felt the immense, ominous gloom hanging heavily. So this is what haunted really meant, he thought. A stifling sense of dread and fear thickened the air. There were no horrific images, just the cold, long, narrow corridor. Yet the atmosphere itself was suffused with an encroaching terror, as if something infinite and unseen was watching him. Something ungraspable. The pair walked in silence. Tigris glanced at her as they moved. She was silent and ghostly, her face mostly hidden by the dim light. Occasionally a faint beam of light ran across her face, revealing her white, ghostly complexion. He couldn't tell if it was just his imagination in the moment, but there was something transcendently horrifying about her face. Something so dark and sinister glazed her eyes. Was she enjoying this? He questioned whether he was projecting this onto her out of his unease, but he couldn't deny that every time the light flashed across her face, he saw a different face entirely. The skin and bone remained the same, but what animated the flesh seemed to cycle between many ghostly different essences. Each flash revealed a blurred identity, and a deep discomfort gnawed at him. Despite the horrors he'd experienced in his life, her face in this moment was by far the most unsettling sight he had ever witnessed. He could only look at her for a few seconds before the fear became too great, forcing him to look away and stare ahead. They continued walking through the maze of narrow, winding corridors, each one as filthy and derelict as the last. It felt like one path ended, only for another to appear from nowhere. The long hallway seemed to stretch on indefinitely, and no matter how much they walked toward the end, it never seemed to get any closer. She led the way with an unfeeling, powerful stride, and Tigris followed, silently. He thought to himself that there was no way that he would ever even find his way back to the original entry point. The labyrinth had so many omnidirectional crosspoints, they were truly indistinguishable from one another. After what seemed like endless walking, the heavy air of dread escalated. Tigris began to notice alien inscriptions etched into the walls, not carved but scratched by someone, or something, in a frantic mania. As they walked, he saw remnants of bones scattered in the corners of the floors, chips of skulls and finger bones. A putrid stench crawled up his nose, and it was by far the worst smell he had ever encountered. It was far beyond the rotting flesh or excrement he had ever smelled before. It was so vile, and the only word he could think to describe it was evil. They continued on, Tigris gagging and choking on the thick, toxic atmosphere. His guide, unfazed by the oppressive air, marched ahead, finding his reaction amusing. The two of them walked until everything seemed trance-like, a blurred, indistinct dream. The faint light around them grew weaker and weaker, until they were almost engulfed in total darkness. Only the faintest dim hue barely revealed their forms. And suddenly she stopped, frozen still.
What?
Tigris gasped, his breath catching in his throat. She jerked her head, slowly rotating it towards him. For the first time in the labyrinth, she locked eyes with him. Her gaze was intense, and there was no white left in her unblinking eyes, only an infinite blackness. Tigris looked into them helplessly, losing control of his limbs. Her eyes were hollow pools, glazed with transcendence. The air thickened with a terrifying madness, their shared gaze entangling him as his soul was overwhelmed with paralyzing chill, fear so potent that his mind shut down to protect him. He felt his feet gently lift from the ground. The floor, walls, and ceiling disappeared entirely, as if the whole labyrinth was melting away like paint dripping down a wall, revealing only total darkness. Was it all an illusion? Was he dreaming? He could no longer tell. Only his body remained, suspended in the empty void, trapped in her unfeeling, unblinking stare. His mind and senses would have shut down completely had he not been immobilized in this otherworldly, dreamlike abduction. There was no escape, no sleep, no unconscious state to release him from the harrowing moment. He stared at her, unable to blink, unable to move. Then, energy stirred behind her eyes, her lips curling into a grin. She relaxed, her body becoming at ease, as though in surrender. Slowly her form began to rise, moved by an unseen force, ascending higher and higher. As she floated upwards, her body began to change. Tentacles burst from her appendages, spikes erupted from the skin of her flesh, and two mighty horns slowly pierced the skin of her forehead, growing larger and sharper with each passing moment. The eruption from her body seemed to release a presence far larger than her human form, a presence compressed and squashed into this tiny vessel. As her form stretched and broke free of its skin, it revealed a grotesque new figure, clawed, horned with a scaly tail. Her spine contorted violently beneath her skin. bubbles and writhing movements, pushing against the surface as her body changed. Two bony limbs shot out of her back, one to the left and one to the right. Then, in a mighty monstrous stretch, wings exploded from her back, fully unfurling with titanic proportion, radiating omniscient power. Her presence was like that of a god, untamed and infinite. Tigris was beyond awestruck. He had seen vast fleets of Imperious battleships, armed with world-destroying weaponry, and commanded millions of infantry. But all that seemed infantile in the face of this being. Its sheer attitude belittled everything he had ever known. Military might, strength, authority. It was all nothing in the face of this entity. And in that moment he understood. This was power beyond the scope of mortal men. It was a will that could not be controlled. A presence so immense it transcended everything he had ever known. He saw how a single being could inspire such terror and awe in countless legions. Its personality would remain a mystery, its potential unknowable, its next move hidden in the abyss. It was the essence of fear itself, locked away in the hearts of men.
Do you see now?
The being asked. Tigris spoke telepathically, his voice shaky.
What are you?
I am you.
The words echoed in Tigris' soul like the toll of a church bell. It was undeniable. The being spoke from the place of untold secrets in the hearts of all men. It was the embodiment of all things humanity denied. The fears, the truths locked away for the safety of their sanity. A living embodiment of the unknown.
Do you wish to know?
The being asked. In awe and mesmerized by the strength and beauty of the being before him, Tigris nodded.
Yes, whatever it may be, I submit wholly to you, my lover, my God. Whatever you need me to be, I'll be that. Raise me, show me the way, reveal to me the unknown.
The being's voice was calm but filled with immense power.
How can I know you are serious? That your mind will not change? What do you offer me in exchange for the highest powers?
My life, my blood.
Do it. Show me. Shed blood in my name. You shall have your closure. You shall have your ascent.
Anything.
You give yourself wholly to me.
Yes. Yes. Everything.
The being's grin grew wider, and the void around them seemed to shrink.
Now, relax. I'm going to make the highest love to you. Now.
A year had passed. Holy war had broken out across the galaxy. In their relentless search for Tigris and growing suspicion of potential terrorist activities, the armies of the Imperius raged from planet to planet, waging war and gruesome bloodshed in the name of honor, accusing the homeworlds of treason and of harboring the terrorist threat. The Imperius military personnel believed that their greatest commander, Tigris, had betrayed them to join forces with the enemy. They believed Tigris, with all his knowledge of the Imperius' deepest inner workings, was in the perfect position to give the most sought-after military secrets to the enemy. His treason was the most significant threat to the Imperius' global security that could be conceived. Mass fleets of starships and millions of soldiers were dispatched across the galaxy in search for him, determined to find him before any major information could be leaked. They moved from star to star, torching cities and reducing peoples to ash, destroying any who did not cooperate or refuse to allow their planets to be thoroughly searched. At the helm of this search were Tigris' father and brothers, some of the highest-ranking military officials, executing orders relentlessly, hell-bent on finding their lost brother, their lost captain, Tigris. Yet the vast majority of people wished for Tigris to be captured, tortured and interrogated. They believed wholeheartedly that he had betrayed the Imperius beyond repair, that his act of treachery was unforgivable. They demanded that he be found, tortured and erased from existence, his name to be obliterated throughout all time and space. The Imperius' search for Tigris made little progress, yet the consequences of the Force's ruthless movements became more and more confrontational. Leading the Imperius' military operations were Tigris' father and brothers, still holding on to the hope that this was all a misunderstanding. Though the covert communication links to Tigris had already revealed much heresy, the family still believed they could bring him back. They clung to the hope that his life could be spared, even if he would never see the light of day. The people of the Imperius were ruthless in their judgment, and the best of men were often judged without mercy. But Tigris was different. He had earned the ultimate reputation as a man of the people. Many nations fought back against the Imperius' demands, calling them the true terrorists. They suspected that the Imperius had even joined forces with the rogue terrorist groups through Tigris, acting as their emissary. Among the planets in the star system, and across its many peoples, there was a mass confusion. Obsession and suspicion tainted the galaxy, as the Imperius' military might, unfazed by the growing opposition, planted false seeds of doubt, treason and suspicion in its enemies. This led to civil wars across star systems. Thus the armies of the intergalactic nations and beings far out in the galaxy were called to arms, unknowingly facing a common enemy. They fought against all in panic, caught in a web of confusion and paranoia. Mass nuclear warheads were launched from one people to another, and in time open war raged across all factions. The true cause and meaning of the bloodshed gradually blurred. Many had no idea how it all had started. Within a year of Tigris' disappearance, the holy war of the apocalypse was upon the universe, sparked by a single man, Tigris. On a distant planet, the war raged on. The Imperius' forces had landed here, seeking to scour and destroy in relentless pursuit of Tigris. The homeland's people had refused to cooperate, and as a result their lands were pillaged, torn apart in the brutal search by Imperius soldiers. Leading the charge was Tigris' father, Leonidas. Perched in the top capsule of a monstrous walking gunship, surrounded by a legion of his best men, his presence was overbearing. His long military trench coat and beret framed his grim face. His beard caressed thoughtfully as his eyes scanned the horizon through a storm of gunfire.
There will be no mercy.
He thought.
Have your men searched the East Bay?
He barked at his lieutenant.
We've searched everywhere, my lord. The 3rd Battalion just torched the entire West Front. Nothing remains.
And of the South Bay?
Leonidas demanded.
We've taken prisoners, my lord. We have 2 men offering information. They say they've seen Tigris with their own eyes.
Why wasn't I informed?
It just came in, sir.
Bring them to me now. That's an order.
But the prisoners are on the other side of the planet, my lord. It would take at least a day to transfer.
No one speaks to them before me. Not a word. Bring them before me now. I want to know who has seen my son.
Amidst the war-torn city, in the crumbling spire of a semi-destroyed church tower, Tigris and the unknown being, the God Star, lay in wait. The sounds of distant gunfire and bombs echoed through the air, interrupted only by an occasional regiment of troops marching past the wreckage of the building. Tigris sat beneath a fallen tiled sheet from what remained of the roof, watching and scanning the horizon through cracks in the church's structure. His face was blackened from the ash and debris. He hadn't washed in so long he couldn't remember, yet he felt stronger than ever, a strange current of energy animating him, unlocking a new depth of emotion and power within him.
Is this what it is now?
He turned, wondering, looking at the God Star.
Is this what it's going to be? Forever now?
Do you not see the beauty, Tigris?
The God Star whispered, her voice carrying an almost hypnotic force.
Are you not ready in your ascent?
Tigris gulped, then turned back, continuing to stare out at the distant horizon.
Your father will find you, Tigress. I have foreseen it. What will you say? How will you explain this?
I don't know.
Would he even believe you? Could you ever undo all this?
What are you trying to do? Are you tormenting me?
Teaching. Growing you.
This doesn't feel like growing. This feels like suicide.
Have you not been dying since you were born? Your very breathing brings you closer to your last. From your inception, you began the suicidal mission that is mortal life. Existence itself in time and space erodes you relentlessly, does it not? Every beat of your heart brings you closer to your end. You call this suicide. You're doing that all by yourself. Is your very incarnation not a kamikaze quest towards sudden death?
Tigress's mind reeled, trapped in the Godstar's web of words.
But what will you die for? What will it all mean to you?
Tigress continued to stare into the distance, each word binding him deeper.
Or will you defy to the end that which kills you? Will you step into that flame, that eternal war of immortality? Can you see beyond that which binds you? Overcome your own spiritual suicide? Overpower your submission to death?
I don't know if I can handle this.
Tigress, feel, embrace, surrender to your own power. Can you not see? Truly there are no laws in nature. Do the meek and innocent not die too? Only weaker, poorer lives. You think their will could survive eternity? In time you will see. I will show you. The cosmos and all its life shall bear witness. The mighty and strong endure, reign supreme, moving into the utter apex of true immortality, unintelligible to the weak, reserved not for the humble nor agreeable, known only to the truly fierce. May the world become thy prey, for the apex is thee, as a mighty God-star. Nothing is impossible.
Tigress turned to look back at her, awe and revelation flickering across his face.
You started this war. You knew this would happen.
I am inevitable. Thus is my power. Thus the Master God I emerge, the orchestrator. Do they not know I pull the strings? The universe itself, in its own ruin, will beg for my power, yet freely do I offer it to you.
You're insane! You're insane!
I am reality.
So, it is true, what they say. Everything. What they say about you, it's true. Everything.
I am everything.
Chapter 10.
We've sealed the perimeter, sire. The prisoners have confirmed. This is the building.
Outside and forming a perimeter around the church tower was legions of soldiers, fleets and airships of convoys of tanks. Leaping from his battleship and marching over to the entrance of the church, a storming father flared.
Tigress! Tigress!
Leonidas screamed up to the church spire. Tigress, hearing his father's voice echoing through the building, was instantly triggered into a hyper-vigilant state. An immense animalistic potency flooded his mind and character, a feral and almost maddening look in his eye. The unknown being of the God Star raised its eyes to his, watching him silently with an intense look of analysis.
Tigers! Calm down. Tigers, calm down.
Continued his father's voice from down below.
Be my son for me now. Come back to me. This can all be put right again. I can make all this go away. You can live again, Tigers. There is a way back. All this can be explained. Just calm down.
The words echoed through the stairwells of the church tower. The God Star remained still, silent and watching. Tigris remained still, his eyes inflating and bulging.
You feel it, don't you? I see it in you. The God Star.
She crept over to him, sliding on the floor on her belly. Writhing serpent-like was the way she moved. She caressed his ankles and massaged his thighs.
I can give you that secret, Tigris,
she whispered, tugging his underwear down from him with her teeth. The mix of emotions and feeling compounded on Tigris's mind in a whirlwind of erotic pain and terrifying pleasure. She pleasured him with a supernaturally sweet seduction. A transcendental force of God moved through the act. Tigris's mind elevated to total oblivion. A raging, senseless, infinite energy blasted through him, and he felt his mind becoming one with eternity. The drawn-out standoff attracted galactic attention. Broadcasting teams from all across the galaxy poured in, swarming the church tower, all pointing cameras toward the church scene, televising and broadcasting the images live to every planet in the galaxy. Every being in the galaxy with the means tuned in to watch the spectacle. A tense awe struck the galaxy as all watched. On all planets in the galaxy, all encampments and households gawped, bars and entire cities reduced to silence as they stared at the screens. All the military force on standby, all weaponry pointed toward that small, shattered room at the top of the church. Tigris' father ran up the stairwells.
Son, stop this now. I'm here. I can save you from this.
He continued running up the stairs, the footsteps of his boots sounding as a pounding drum shaking the tower ruins. A reverberating echo of his father's steps grew louder and louder, getting closer and closer. And whilst still in the act of pleasure, Tigris could hear them faintly. Amidst the onslaught of his sensory oblivion, Tigris was exposed to the raw forces of the unknown, the unending psychic storm of the greatest divine power, shattering his mind, his soul, his self. The woman, drawing her deepest power and pouring all her essence into the moment, proclaimed the God Star as she continued the intense fellatio, giving herself wholly to the act. Elevated into an infinite existence in spirit, Tigris surrendered to the ultimate power, and the current of the abyss freely ran through him unhindered and untamed. The energy between the two suddenly escalated into an even greater fury, the vibration radiating a truly godlike bliss. She then tore away from her cloth, revealing her own erect member. Her figure enhanced, and her resolve appeared more powerful. She grabbed him whilst he was totally in mental oblivion and thrust herself upon him, aggressively penetrating him. Whilst she penetrated him, a second limb burst from her torso of her chest, splitting open her ribcage. A second head of hers on the end of the tentacle that curled round the front of Tigris and began to pleasure him with immense suction on his erect member. Leonidas finally reached the top of the stairwell, watching on in utter horrified, refusing to believe what he was seeing. His eyes watered, glazed with tears that required all his strength to hold back. He looked deep into his son's eyes, whilst the tentacle continued its fellatio, simultaneously penetrating Tigris harder and harder in machine-like relentlessness. The God Star watched the encounter keenly, with an immense glee in her eyes. She pulled Tigris' hair aggressively, wrenching his neck back.
It's time to make your choice, Tigress.
Leonidas looked deep into his son's eyes in a silent plea. For a second, all the pain and shadow left Tigress's eyes, seeing for a split moment his son that he remembered. Exchanging a brief look, flashed before the pair the bond they had, the memories they had experienced, the glories they shared, the unconditional love between them in that fleeting glimpse. The moment was brief but stretched across eternity. An ember of hope sparked in his father's heart, and Tigress looked back. A possessed demonic smirk curled his lips, locked in powerful eyes with Leonidas, as he moaned deeply with pleasure, wailing in deep long sirens of ecstasy. Leonidas drew his pistol from his holster and held it to his own head. Tigress continued to indulge deeply, his stare becoming more and more sinister, menacing and truly evil. The pleasure raising and raising, Tigress neared a divine cosmic climax. Leonidas, unable to withstand the reality before him, buckled under the shame, dishonor, and myriad of other emotions, considered his suicide in the moment, as he undressed, revealing his also erect member, confused and aroused, overcome by the radiating sexual energy of the act. He stared numbly into Tigress's eyes, whilst he was helplessly dragged into the waves of immense divine power coming from Tigress and the Godstar, pulled uncontrollably into the hypnotic divine ecstasy. Leonidas began pleasuring himself, reaching orgasm almost immediately, and as the orgasm peaked, he pulled the trigger of his gun and blew the brains of his head out all over the walls with his pistol. At the sound of the gunshot, simultaneously, Tigress orgasms reaching the penultimate state of God. He violently jerked and convulsed, melting, losing control whilst on the erect member of the Godstar. Another strong, long, phallic tentacle burst from the Godstar's body and violently penetrated the warm corpse of Leonidas, penetrating him from behind, so violently that his member burst out the corpse's mouth. The tentacle, whilst inserted, lifts the dad's body up off the ground and waves it around in the sky, showcasing it to the camera crew and the peoples watching. A titanic doom and terror swept through all those watching. Tigress looked on, smirking. The Godstar, reaching unfathomable galactic power, had a sweet glee in her yellow eyes, pulsating with dark allure. A mysterious, energetic shockwave of immense magnitude burst from the scene and swept through the planet, catapulting all military personnel into a soul-shattering, mindless orgasm. The televised event causing all that witnessed to convulse in heavenly orgasm, even those watching on a screen. The shockwave so potent as to cause mass simultaneous orgasm on all people in the galaxy. The Godstar absorbed all the orgasms of the galaxy simultaneously, the highest offering. The immense, unfathomable spiritual power of the galactic ceremony surged to her being, flooding her with the total omniscience of highest God. The surrounding military all fell into deep religious frenzy. A furious sexual madness overcame their minds. The battlefield erupted into a no-limits feasting orgy. The shockwave of this madness reverberated through the galaxy, with all beings exploding into uncontrollable passionate lust of blood and sex. A feral, untamed insanity overcame their minds, and all beings, devouring, destroyed all things, erupted in dance and celebration, all energy offered in the name of the Godstar. All became at last the fully formed Godstar. She was at last the unfathomable apex of spiritual energy that was directed toward her in a single moment. It had caused such an energetic rift in time and space as to open the very gates of the higher extra-dimensional realm, many millions of layers above base matter, accomplishing the initiation of the immortal in the flesh, all limitation removed. The Godstar, absorbing enough power in the act, raised themselves in a crystallized, evolved light body of beaming, sparkling rainbow iridescence. The Godstar raised from the ground and into the sky, of which the portal hummed, ascending into the higher dimension, dematerializing out of base matter. Thus the Godstar searched the boundless void of the new layer of existence she knew only in dreams, in search of the beings she sought after so long, the true architects of the base layer, they who resided above, changing and shaping the stories in the denser planes of existence, they who live without barriers of the mortal coil. And thus the Godstar ventured deep into the void, beyond all known dimensions, seeking the cosmic rulers. Tigress's being merged as one with the power of the God Star, dissolving into its essence, becoming one truly with the being. The imperious throne stood silent, once a fortress of dominion and prosperity. Its towering spires now crumbled into cosmic dust, dissolving in the wake of the God Star's final ascent. The great fleets, the legions of soldiers who had once marched in unyielding precision beneath the Imperious's banner, had vanished, erased as if they had never been. Time itself seemed to stutter and unravel, the echoes of their war songs swallowed by a void beyond reckoning. Across the galaxy, entire worlds flickered and faded, their histories unwritten in the blink of an eye, their people reduced to nameless spectres, lost in the God Star's final act of becoming. And yet, in the vast vanishing remnants of what once was, a whisper remained, lingering in the spaces where existence had collapsed, a trace of something beyond conquest, beyond power, a memory, faint and fleeting, of a father calling out to his son to come home.